Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me for Singapore FinTech Festival coverage is Chris Carlin, Head of Alliances, Redistribution Solutions, and Data Products at Morningstar Asia Limited to discuss data trends in APAC. Chris, it's great to see you again, virtually, of course. Welcome back to Trade Talks.
Indeed. Thanks for having me again. Good to see you as well.
Morningstar is a market data vendor and is also working with Nasdaq's market data team. Tell us how the working relationship is like, in particular with the data feed to the end clients.
Yeah, so it's been a great working relationship. As mentioned before, I think a lot of the customers in Asia want to see US data. And so Nasdaq is a primary source of that data. So working with the team in Asia, having support on the ground in Asia for the data feed has been really helpful. So that allows us to have people we can contact here. Our clients can contact if they have any issues, and allows us to have direct connectivity from Nasdaq to us, but then have Nasdaq be involved in that process day to day. Whereas if they had no presence in Asia, that would be very difficult. So I think working with the team here has been great. The longevity of the team, with Tomas, we've had a great working relationship for several years now, and I really appreciate having that team here.
And Morningstar's clients include retail investors and private banks. With the competitive environment faced by online brokers, fintechs, I mean, all the buzzwords that we've heard throughout wealth tech, robo-advisors, and so forth, how do you see the role of Morningstar?
So we fit in quite a niche way. So obviously working with Nasdaq, that's a lot of US market data. But because we have an abundance of other data, mutual fund data, ETF data, and that we're collecting. So we help those companies in very different ways, I think. So in terms of wealth tech, it's a very good fit for us. We like to help companies disrupt that have, say, ideas around the advisory space or robo-advisory space that might do automated fund selecting. And so we can take our data, combine it with market data, say stock prices, fund data, and help companies, put their ideas into practice before they have to spend a lot. So one of the ways that I position Morningstar and the business that I do is I try to make the upfront cost as low as possible. Obviously, there's some cases where it can't be too low, other third-party fees, but we try to make it so these people could experiment with their idea, make the twinks, and then go into production and disrupt the market. I think in terms of retail brokers and private banks, they actually have the customer base, so they have the foothold. And what I see developing now is some of these fintechs like robo-advisories partnering with some of the retail environment, wealth managers, not so much private banks, but looking to offer enhanced solutions to their customers on their existing platforms.
So Chris, how is Morningstar supporting the industry player and the ecosystem? So
we do it several ways. So one is, I think, obviously our data feeds from Nasdaq and other services like Nasdaq Basic and other data. But we also have a research business that we've added a lot of value added insight into the business. So in the fund data space and the independent equity research space. So through that, we're helping, I think, add independent insight and I would say overall value added look into the investment management arena. So through that, I think we're helping the industry, giving transparency. We're not a bank, so we're not trying to solicit business when we do our research. And I think that adds a lot to the environment. On top of our data feeds, and we're supportive. So we go to the FinTech events, ideally when they're in person, and we talk to a lot of the FinTechs and find out what their goals are. Regulation technology is a big one for us. Obviously, a lot of regulations driving some of these companies and what they do. And one of the key ones would be product due diligence out of Hong Kong in the mutual fund space from the SSC, a little bit from the HKMA, and having thought leadership to support the industry and guide them through those regulations. And that's a combination of our research business and our data feed business. We're able to deliver that to customers.
So Chris, I want you to expand more apart when we're talking about COVID-19, right? How has the Morningstar business been developing in view of a pandemic? Is there any change to your strategy, whether it's relevant to COVID-19 or any other crisis?
So my personal strategy, yes. I think what we saw is some customers are taken two ways. One, they've shrunk their business, unfortunately, we've seen a slightly negative impact. But others, larger customers, have actually taken this time to make some capital investments, revamp and retool. And I think we've seen some benefit of that, certainly in markets like China, mainland China, and even in Hong Kong, where they've taken this opportunity to, where they have some downtime where they normally wouldn't have, to expand their offering either on the technology side or on the data offerings that they make available to their clients. I think COVID has presented a lot of opportunities in the equity space. And we see with some of the US companies leading the charge on vaccine development, and others, we're getting a lot of interest on US traded data. And so we've had inquiries around how can we quickly add US data, not necessarily the whole market, but say the top 1,000 stocks to clients' portfolio. So, and it's also driven our research business as well. So strategy-wise, I don't know if we'll see a trailer of the negative impact into next year. This year was fairly strong for us in that sense, but we did see some slightly negative impact at first. And obviously, the longer this goes on with the lockdowns, I'm not sure if people are going to have to eat into their savings. That may drive down the retail business, but hopefully we'll see it come out on top. But we do see the capital retooling has been quite a nice surprise for us. Things like different exchanges and actually private banks putting a lot of investment in.
And Chris, to wrap with the best part, how do you find the collaboration of Nasdaq? How does Nasdaq market data support the growth of Morningstar and your initiatives?
Well, it's a great source of US data. It has all the brand. So people think US market, they think Nasdaq. So collaboratively working with the team in Asia from a marketing perspective to promote US securities. And then I think it's a win-win for both of us. We support each other. Actually, a few of them are ex-colleagues of mine. And so we have a great working relationship that we know that we can rely on each other and help bring value to the business. And I think one thing that I've been impressed with is the team is willing to work through solutions for some of our customers. In Asia, we have a lot of small customers, and we try our best to work together to see that we can meet those requirements of smaller customers and not have to walk away from that business. And I'd say that's all the way from Thailand up to Japan.
All right, Chris, great to see you as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade
Yes.
Talks, and thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.